Hello, today is TipTop Tuesday and I'm Anne-Marie McNamara. The date is April 25th. Our topic today is talking about the veil or the other side where our relatives live. So the first thing, why am I doing this today? Because a friend of mine was talking about how it was the anniversary of her husband's death. We've known each other since high school, and I knew her husband too, actually. And then, like, just within days, or maybe a week, she found a diamond earring that she has been missing for 2 years. She found it in the kitchen when she was sweeping. Now, this woman is a good housekeeper, believe me. I've seen her in action. So my sense is that this diamond earring returning is a message from her husband on the other side. So first, what I want to do is I'm going to read a story that is in my book, Earth Whisperer, the White Chick from Tacoma, because I think it will be very useful to kind of opening the door for some of these things. Some of you may not know, but I worked the psychic line for a while. This is a story about it. What happened to my brother seemed like an innocent question, right? It was not. It was a test, and she knew what happened to him. So I raised my vibration and turned into the energy. I felt all his pain. He had been brutally murdered. As I remember, he had been grabbed from behind and repeatedly stabbed. He did not want to die, and his realization of his potential death left him screaming in fear, anger, and beyond rage. This was not how he thought his life would end. I believed he also knew the attacker and felt betrayed. The physical pain was also unbearable. Honestly, I do not remember if I was able to clear his path to go to a higher vibration. The lesson for me was to protect myself and my own energy field. Feeling all his pain, both emotionally and physically, was horrible. I remembered it to this day, and it's a great reminder to be cautious and to put yourself in the protection of white light or golden light of love. When I spoke to the caller about his brother's death, she affirmed that yes, he had died a violent death. She was almost matter of fact. At the time, I thought it was cold-hearted of her not to warn me, and maybe she did not realize the consequences of her request. She did not seem upset about my horrible experience. However, I now know that personal traumas can create an unawareness of another's personal safety. After the phone call ended, I disconnected from the psychic line and cleared my energy. As I write this now, it occurs to me it was really wonderful that she called. The two siblings connected and both had a little more peace in being able to communicate with each other. Once his pain was cleared, he could let his sister know he was ready to move forward in his soul's life. She was able to receive his experience of receiving his own grace through love to move forward through the light, or towards the light. I have heard people say they don't understand what that means, so I've decided to use science as an example. One of the things about science is they give you concrete steps to make explanations at times. So for this, I'm going to use water. Water symbolizes emotion, and water and emotions and body all goes together. When we feel stuck, sometimes we even get cold, right? But we feel stuck, we're really solid. Think of that as ice. Now, when we even use these words, we're feeling fluid. It just flowed. That's water. We're in our water state. Now, then there goes to the next level, which you don't really see sometimes, and that's steam or mist. It's very light. You can still feel it, you can sometimes see it. That is an example of the other side. So it's just as real. one of the things that I think is important for people to understand is doorways. When people die, they often will be at a misty level, right? Like the water. So what we want to do... Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Mary. Anyway, is help them communicate with us. So first what I want to say is... Oh, I got sidetracked with looking at people. But anyway, so what happens is that people will pass when they die. They come in a certain way and then they leave a certain way. Well, I like to think of that as a long driveway. So when somebody is on the other side and they don't really know the pathway, they're on a road, during their birth time and their death time, there is like a familiar driveway. It's much easier for them to lower their vibration and come home. And that's just through their own abilities. The other part of that is holidays. People often say, well, holidays are significant. And that's true. And oftentimes, holidays, people are thinking about their past and their past loved ones. And by creating that thought pattern, it also kind of gives a signal like, hey, we're over here, come on down and join us. And that helps spirit people also connect with their loved ones. Now, people have often said, well, how do I know if they're there or not? And for me, the easiest way to do is to ask them. Is to say things like, Dad, are you there? And ask a question. And if it seems like something your father, mother, sister, brother, child would say, then they're there. And oftentimes, especially around this time, the best time to kind of communicate is in the shower because you're kind of flowing, getting things off you, your vibration is lighter, and it's easier for you to be able to communicate. Just because we can't see it in a solid form does not mean it doesn't exist. You know, if that was true, then so many of the things we see with our visual eyes that we don't see would not be, science would not have found them to be true. For instance, if they hadn't discovered cells, we wouldn't know we were made up of all these cells, right? It's something basic like that. And also, trust yourself. I always like to do when you're communicating with the other side, to put yourself in white light and to pray, because when you do either one of those things, it's going to raise your vibration, and it helps the person on the other side to be able to communicate with you better too. And what I mean by that, if you're kind of stuck in the ice, right? Instead of not flowing, it's going to be a little harder for that spirit or that loved one from the other side to go into the ice, right? It's just, you might hear the vibration, but it's not going to be as clear. So when you're doing your prayer and meditation, you're lifting your vibration on a fluid level. We've all experienced that if we pray or meditate. So, are there any questions? You know, I bet I'm not going to be able to tell if there's questions. Sorry, you guys. If you have questions, please put them down below and I will answer them. And I'm also going to put a link to my book. And thank you for joining me, and I hope this is helpful. I like the idea of people being able to recognize that their loved ones are still there. Thanks.